So hey guys, welcome back. Back on the brakes, the aerospace component brakes anyway for the coupe. Some good news. I contacted Team Z about the fact that the control arms that I ordered for this job, because they needed to be shorter, informed them of what happened, showed them the invoice, even though it was next month will be 2 years from how long I've had those A-arms. They, in their customer service, sent me a U.S. postage receipt to ship them back, and as soon as they got confirmation that they were in the mail, they sent the new replacement arms, and like that. So those two are the replacements. These are the originals that came out of here, and I sent back the new ones that they were supposed to. They sent me the first time anyway. Yeah, you can see just how much shorter these ones are compared to these. So, and I am going to get going on and installing these here, and not a lot to see or talk about. I got to lube up the bushings before I stick them in, and usually you got to buy these expensive little packs of special silicone grease, and I got a couple of them, but I also a couple years ago bought one of these big tubs of the stuff, and this is like a lifetime supply. That's this little grease, because I didn't want to keep paying for whoever has to put that in a packet. And if you do a lot of work on these cars or any kind of cars and you use that grease a lot, it behooves you to just buy a sizable amount of it and save yourself some money in the long run. So yeah, I'm gonna get to putting these in and try to make my car look like a car again. So I did have to order new O-rings for the center caps. So here's all the old brake stuff, calipers, rotors, and this is all the bits that got sawed off the calipers. So I went and got the bathroom scale out and started weighing things up, and I was really surprised. These things are going to be 34 pounds lighter than the stock brakes are, and that's, if you pick up a 35-pound dumbbell, that's a significant amount of weight taken off the front of the car. So. And these are the street brakes, so since they got the bigger rotors, so the race version will probably save you a little bit more weight, but it's a little bit more weight savings than I thought there was going to be. That's good news for the bottom line. But yeah, I'll get to installing these, and I'll bring you back when I got something to show you. This is another week gone, but for the most part, the brakes are installed. Look pretty cool back there. We're working right now on the brake lines. Let it be said that the alignment is totally whacked out right now. And I have a little bit of a concern of how far the wheel is sticking out still, even though it was supposed to be in a quarter, but I'm hoping, I got all the camber I can give it, because now, you move the lower ball joint in an inch. So you had to crank in more camber to compensate, and I don't think I got enough camber. So I may have to modify the strut to get any more, and that may push the top of the tire in and get me in a happy place. It just doesn't look like it's going to work at the moment, but I'm hoping when I put weight on it, get some more camber in with the strut mod, it'll all hopefully fall in line. Because there is a spacer in here that I can hopefully take out, but if I take the spacer out, then I have to hog out the center bore and the wheel a little bit on the back, because this cone shape of the spindle has a taper on it, and it doesn't allow the wheel to sit fully flush. So I got some options. I'm not dead in the water yet. I'm just figuring out what I got to do. But in the meantime, we have the master cylinder out. We got the line lock solenoid in with said 90-degree adapters. And I'm sciencing out everything I got to do. So I got my big fitting kit, got the good flaring tool, got some tees, got a whole bunch of line, and this isn't the fitting going on here, but this is the 94-95 Cobra master cylinder that we're going to give a go. And so it's only got the 2 ports on the engine side versus the 3 ports of the normal Foxbody ones, because this goes to the rear brakes and these 2 go to the front brakes. Well, since we only have a single out, we have no proportioning valve anymore, because we have the adjustable one way on the other side there. So with the line lock brake, I'm figuring out what I got to do. More talking hands, but yeah, this is what takes the time. But getting after it, and I'll bring you back in when I kind of got things mocked up, and I'm ready to move on to the rear. The rear is going to be easy. I just hope after all said and done, I got enough line left over to make new lines on the axle. So I think I have new ones on there, but I can't remember. But if I cut them up, I cut them up. But, all right, back after it. All right, well, this part is done. Master cylinder's on. Really like the way it turned out. Here's the line lock solenoid. So from the rear going into the solenoid, it splits off to the left and right front brake rotors. And this one goes to the rear, which just follows the firewall around the proportioning valve and then goes back. So I did kind of simplify it, and I just made a whole new line going down to the left front wheel, just so I didn't have another union. So put this this stainless steel wrap or guard on it, because these are those easy to bend copper lines. So just to protect things a little bit. Plus it also kind of hides all the little nicks and grooves that you get done. And I don't know if it's gonna help or hurt with heat retention or shielding, but I guess time will tell with that. This is all gonna get covered with like the stock coil cover, so you're not gonna see any of this stuff. And I just gotta wire up the line lock solenoid. It's all gonna turn out really nice. Well, next thing I'm gonna get into is I gotta get some gear oil. Well, I don't have to get the gear oil now, but I could take the rear end apart and get ready for the disc brakes on that, because there's a couple lines that need to be spliced into for the new calipers. And while I have all my tooling out, I like to just get that done and knocked out, because man, I tell you what, this thing right here, I put it off for years and years and years, because I need, I waited till I had a big job to buy it. But man, it saves so much time. You just get over here, put your fittings in, you set it, tighten it down, boom, boom, and you're done. There's none of this twisting and fighting with the handheld double flaring tools and monkeying around. And man, it just made this job go way faster. So yeah, probably knocked all this out in maybe 3 hours. I went through a little more than half my line. So I'm not sure if and what I'll need on the back. Hopefully that'll be enough versus what I still got on there. And yeah, we'll keep on pressing. All right, we're cracking on. Heater's going. It was snowing outside earlier. We're working a few inches away from the garage door, trying to minimize the draft as much as possible, but things are happening. So see if I can mute out the noise from the heater here in the audio. But all right, drum brakes are off, and here is the same exact 4-lug kit from Foxbody that we had for John's engine, or John's car. Down to, there's nothing different other than the brake pads I got were some upgraded Actabono ones. But yeah, I put them on the bathroom scale. The drum brake assemblies weigh 34.1 pounds for the pair of them. And all this, not including, I'm not worried about the cables, but all this stuff right here is 40 pounds. So you're adding about 4 pounds of weight. by swapping over to disc brakes. So I mean the rotors are, for non-vented, they're still pretty thick. So I think this is the bulk of the weight. But yeah, and then you got a big old caliper versus a little, hydraulic wheel cylinder in there. But anyway, we're gonna get this starting to bolt up. I've already done a video with John's car about installing this kit. I'll put a link to it here. If there's anything new or different that's gonna be happening between this kit and the previous video, I'll note the differences and stuff like that. But nothing weird is when I drained the gear oil out of the back, it was pretty dark. But yeah, I mean, it was royal purple gear oil. It was coming out there pretty dark. I think it was like 75 W90. I don't know if I'm gonna run the same stuff again. I mean, it wasn't barely in there 500 miles. So I don't know if I'm over, I mean, even this back cover's pretty thin and should be keeping it cool. But I think I may put some heavier weight gear oil in there with the friction modifier this time and see how it goes. But all right, I am gonna get this installed. I gotta get these cables swapped out. I think that's gonna be my biggest pain in the butt, and modify the lines to adapt to the new calipers. All right, and I'll be back in a couple secs. All right, so another day, another color thermal shirt later. We've hit a snag, and this is with the rear disc kit from Foxbody or Foxbody brakes. Problem here is with the cables. So I ran into this with John's car, and we did something to the calipers to make these cables fit, but I think I figured out what the problem is, and I'm going to bring it in and show you. All right, so these cables here are the drum brake cables, which are not been long on the car. You can tell they're pretty much like new still. And you got the back end here that goes into the drum brake assembly. It's got the square end on it, and then the other end you have the ball end, and the ball end goes into the horseshoe bracket that connects to your handbrake cable. So you line up the new cable for the disc brakes, so it's got the ball on the one end, or the squared off ferrule on the other end, and it was different lengths because of the differences of the disc brake setup. And it doesn't have the push click in type thing like the factory one is. You just have this barrel with an E-clip on it. And the problem we had was you use the square end to hook onto the back of the caliper. This end here pushes into the caliper itself, and you put the clip on the other side. So here is the squared off end that should go into the caliper. So it locks around this arm here for the parking brake. So if you go in the hole, and you continue on, this little barrel part is supposed to fit into the caliper, and it does not. So, but if you take it out and you flip this cable around, so now we have the round end going in to the caliper. Sorry for the great filmology. This end is a little smaller, and it fits all the way in there. So whoever Foxbody brakes has building their cables obviously put the cable in the wrong way around and swedged the ends different, because I guess they didn't realize that these ends here are slightly different diameters. I mean, we can make it work, it'll work. It's just not going to be super original ideal, because this is supposed to have a little rounded end to go into the horseshoe for the parking brake. This rounded end will certainly work, but it really should be squared off to work with the parking brake thing. So there we go. I mean, I could grind the caliper the same way we did John's, and we'll be able to fit it. Then that end will be a little loose in the body because the whole differences, but yeah. So here we are again, getting close. I think I'll make it happen here probably this week or this weekend, butting it up. I'll just probably give Foxbody Brakes a cursory email asking what's going on to make them aware if they're not aware already. And they just send out the kits maybe and let people just deal with it, because it'll still work. But, you know, who knows if they're sitting on a couple hundred or 1,000 of those cables that they had to have made to make these kits the way they do. Anyway, thanks for sticking to the end. I know it's a longer video. Still didn't really get to a good finishing point, but yeah, I got to keep the updates flowing. I don't want these videos to get so long, nobody watches them and they get a little too boring, but thanks. We'll see you again, and take care, guys. Bye-bye.